computer won't upload, or phone won't upload, or will upload when it's on?
He has a good drive. He was, I don't know.
Gosh. Oh, I saw him. His hair is longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I did see. Okay.
I don't know any of these people super well, but...
Well, I mean, who do you know?
Jordan.
So you're friends with Jordan?
Yes. I've known her my whole entire life. Our moms were best friends, so I met her when I was a week old.
What's that? What's her last name?
Nedeau. Nedeau.
Nedeau.
Yeah. I'm going around to all my friends, talking to people, so I never really was standing and watching and keeping tabs on other people. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure Jordan was with Chris, not doing anything. She wasn't drinking. She wasn't banned at 21 because she's not. Same thing with Teddy. He actually got kicked out twice. And then.
Oh, really? That night? For what?
Yeah. He was underage drinking. Like, he got caught drinking a beer, so they kicked him out. And then they let him back in, and then actually, as he was getting let back in, they kicked him out again because they didn't know that he was going to be able to stay.
Did you know him?
And the alcohol? No, not at all.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of that's going on at that time? I mean...
Other than...
How many people were there?
By the time the band got there, probably about... I don't want to say 30, so maybe 20, 30.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe less.
In the band truck or something, they left, so I'm like, what am I doing here? So I start texting my old lady and telling her I'm about to get a cab home.
Now, were you drinking at the party?
Yes, I was drinking there.
Okay.
They had some like Miller High Life in the bottle can type thing.
Okay.
And we're just going around, so we had some drinks.
Do you, the girl and guy that I guess eventually you end up leaving with, did you meet them at the party? I mean, did you know?
Yeah, I met them at the party. Everybody was like the last ones up. Jordan ended up making like some fried chicken for everybody to eat, and then I was like, I couldn't find my keys. And that's why I wasn't like ready to leave right away.
Mm-hmm.
So they started helping me look for my keys. I didn't drive my vehicle there anyway, but...
Yes, sir.
Right.
What time did you wake up today?
I woke up at 10 o'clock with Teddy banging on my door, telling me this whole story. Cause I went to sleep, said, "Good night, babe, I love you, I'll see you in a little bit." Cause she said she was gonna come sleep.
And what story did he tell you?
What's that?
What story did he tell you?
Jordan's Last Party. Intro. On August 2nd, 2014, 20-year-old Jeffrey Rushing attended an after-party with many of his friends, including a beautiful young lady named Jordan Nedeau. That was Jordan's last party. She ended up dead in the early morning hours in a vehicle that became submerged in a river off Tower Road in Tallahassee. The driver was Jeffrey, but unlike Jordan, he managed to get out. There are many similarities between this case and the case involving the death of Mary Jo Kopechne, including that the two men involved in separate tragic car accidents years apart were known as Teddy. 55 years ago, on July 18, 1969, Ted Kennedy crashed his vehicle off a narrow, dangerous bridge within the small Massachusetts island of Chappaquiddick. The vehicle became submerged in the water, but Ted Kennedy, who was driving the vehicle, managed to get out. Sadly, he had a passenger with him, Mary Jo Kopechne, who was unable to escape and perished in the vehicle. Mary Jo was a young woman who had been a teacher until she moved to Washington, D.C. to become a political aide. She had worked for Ted Kennedy's late brother, Robert F. Kennedy, who was assassinated several months before the traffic accident that took the life of Mary Jo. The accident also led to a scandal that marred Ted Kennedy's life and political career for the rest of his life. Ted and Kopechne had attended a party with friends earlier that night at a rented cottage on the island. Supposedly, there were 12 people, Ted Kennedy and 5 other married men, plus 6 so-called boiler room girls, as the group of young, unmarried female campaign strategists were called. Mary Jo was one of the so-called boiler room girls. All of them had worked for Robert's presidential campaign before his 1968 assassination. The reasons for the scandal surrounded the mystery of why Ted escaped with minimal responsibility for what happened. It was suggested that Ted and others at the parties had become intoxicated, and that Ted's intoxication was partially to blame for what happened. Ted claimed he tried to rescue Kopechne, but the police were not called about the accident for about 10 hours. There were reports that he was disoriented and had been asking for help at nearby homes. Some believe Mary Jo could have been rescued if help was sought immediately, that she died of asphyxia waiting for help while a small air pocket in the vehicle ran out of oxygen. Others claimed she died of drowning, and the delay in reporting what happened was of no consequence. Sadly, the case was not properly investigated. Ted Kennedy got a sweet deal by taking a plea to leaving the scene of an accident with injury and received a small suspended sentence. A year after the accident, perhaps while trying to salvage his political career, Ted Kennedy spoke about what happened on TV. He justified not calling the cops by his supposed confusion and shock, stating, "I was overcome, I'm frank to say, by a jumble of emotions, grief, fear, doubt, exhaustion, panic, confusion, and shock." Family members of Mary Jo are still seeking answers for what happened that night, what happened at that party, and what really happened to Mary Jo. The lack of a full criminal investigation left a lot of questions unanswered, so justice was never done in that case. Jordan's case has many similarities, but one huge difference. Jeffrey Rushing was charged with DUI manslaughter, vehicular homicide, and leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. The case was fully investigated and culminated in a trial, pitting prosecutors Georgia Kappelman and Sarah Dugan against seasoned criminal defense attorney Tim Jansen, with Judge Terry Lewis presiding. In this deep dive into this tragic case, we will examine the investigation, the interrogation of Jeffrey Rushing, and the trial. Thanks for watching Deep Dive True Crime by Mentor Lawyer. Be sure to check out Mentor Lawyer's other channels, Mentor Lawyer Justice Network and Criminal Breakdown. May it please the court. Counsel, members of the jury, good morning. On August 2nd, 2014, Deputy Adam Bragg was on patrol and responded to a call about a man who appeared to be passed out on the side of the road at about 9:15 in the morning. When Deputy Bragg arrived, he saw Jeffrey Rushing walking through the parking lot of a truck rental warehouse. And this warehouse was located close to the turnoff to Tower Road, and that's about 2 miles from where the boat ramp is on Tower Road. As Mr. Rushing fit the description of the sleeping man, Deputy Bragg pulled over and made contact with him. While the defendant did not appear injured, he did appear disheveled. His clothing was damp and had bits of grass stuck to it, and he appeared to be somewhat confused, possibly drunk or high. Deputy Bragg offered the defendant a ride to where he was going, and the defendant accepted. Defendant told Deputy Bragg that he thought his car may have been towed and that he had been separated from his friends the night before and that he had been drinking and gotten basically lost. So he was going quite a ways, so the deputy agreed to give him a courtesy transport to where he was going. The courtesy transport took about 13 or 14 minutes, and the whole time that the defendant was in the company of Deputy Bragg was about a 30-minute time period. And at no point during that 30-minute time period did the defendant tell Deputy Bragg that he had been involved in a traffic crash. And certainly at no point during that time that the defendant was in the company of Deputy Bragg did he tell the deputy that he had consumed 14 beers, a shot of liquor, Xanax, cocaine, and marijuana, and then driven off the Tower Road boat ramp with Jordan Nedeau trapped inside his vehicle. After getting a ride home from Deputy Bragg, the defendant told his friends what he had done. He said he crashed his car into a river and that Jordan was still inside the car when he left. She was still alive when he left, and she was asking him to help her. She was repeating his name. He and several people went out to the Tower Road boat landing, and they were looking for the vehicle. They saw no sign of Jordan and no sign of the vehicle, which was completely submerged under this river, which is a muddy brown river. At some point, the defendant's mother got involved, and then at approximately 4:45 p.m., this is 11 hours approximately after the crash and 7 hours after his contact with Deputy Bragg, this defendant and his mother walked into the Leon County Sheriff's Office and made contact with Deputy Davidson. She was working at the duty desk, and there they informed her that he had been in a crash and there was a young woman that was missing. At the sheriff's office, Deputy Davidson was treating this as a missing person. She called the hospitals. She called the tow companies. She called Jordan's friends and Jordan's family, and nobody had heard from Jordan. The defendant indicated during his conversations with Deputy Davidson that he was unfamiliar with the area of Tower Road and was traveling approximately 25 miles per hour when he mistakenly launched his vehicle off the boat ramp and into the water. He tells the deputy that he tried to assist Jordan by trying to open the driver's door. He was able to get out, but he doesn't know how. And he tried to punch the glass of the driver's window, but wasn't able to do that. He told Deputy Davidson that Jordan was in the passenger's seat and she was calling out his name in a frantic way. He said he didn't know if she escaped the vehicle or not, but that she was alive when he left the vehicle there in the water. The reality of this case is, once the defendant left that scene, he didn't do anything to try to get help for Jordan Nedeau. Instead, he passed multiple residences. He passed a fire station without making any attempt to get her assistance. He even got a ride home with the deputy sheriff and did not mention the young woman drowning in his vehicle. Once he finally did report her missing 11 hours later, Deputy Davidson, as I said, called all these places looking for Jordan, and nobody had heard from her. Officers responded to Tower Road. They didn't see anything. They got out in a boat and did a pole grid search looking for the vehicle with negative results. At 7:30 p.m., the dive team with the Leon County Sheriff's Office was called out to actually get in the water and look under the water for the vehicle. And it was about midnight when they found the vehicle. And by the time they extracted the vehicle out of the water, it was 2 a.m., and that was the first time anybody saw that, yes, in fact, Jordan's body is inside this defendant's vehicle. You will hear from the medical examiner who performed the autopsy of Ms. Nedeau, and she will tell you that Ms. Nedeau suffered a head injury consistent with bumping her head on something, the windshield or the dashboard, and that this impact may have caused her to lose consciousness or become disoriented. The head injury is not what killed her, though. You will hear from the medical examiner that Ms. Nedeau's cause of death was drowning. Once her body was found, this case became a death investigation, and as a result, a sample of blood was taken from this defendant at 2:47 a.m. Now, that's approximately 20 hours after the crash, and you will learn a little bit about how the body processes different types of chemicals, alcohol, Xanax, cocaine, and marijuana. And I expect you will learn that marijuana metabolizes slower than the substances, so it hangs out in the blood longer. When the defendant's blood was tested at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, it was clear of alcohol, clear of Xanax, clear of cocaine, but still contained THC, which is the active component in marijuana. Once you hear all the evidence in this case, you will be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that this defendant was under the influence to the extent that his normal faculties were impaired when he drove off that boat ramp. You will find that he was driving recklessly when he launched his vehicle off a boat ramp into a river. And you will find that he failed to render reasonable aid to Ms. Nedeau when he left her there to drown, and when he did not do anything to get her help as is required by the law. And at that point, I will stand before you in closing argument, and I will ask you to return a verdict of guilty as charged. Thank you.
May it please the court. Opposing counsel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Timothy Jensen, and I represent Jeffrey Rushing, along with my partner, Ryan Davis. When we picked a jury yesterday, I thought it was interesting that one of the jurors was not selected. She said she takes the case like a mystery. and she wants to solve the mystery and start from fresh. And I thought that was important, and I think the fact will bear that out, that there is a mystery in this case, and it is a tragic case. It is a tragic story because of the tragic death of a young woman. But the mystery in this case is going to be who was the driver of the vehicle on the night in question. That's one of the most important elements in this whole thing is who was driving the vehicle. And the driver of the vehicle was the person who was responsible for much of the things that the prosecutor mentioned to you: the driving safety, the rendering aid. And in this case, this whole thing started as a missing person. It got involved because it was a complicated crime scene. There were hours that were lapsed. You had multiple different parts of the sheriff's office involved. My client, Mr. Rushing, knew Miss Nedeau very well. They were friends. They were in the vehicle, and all, if not all the evidence, is going to show that Miss Nedeau was in the driver's seat of the vehicle. Her phone was found in the driver's seat of the vehicle when it was pulled from the car. Another important piece of information: there are 4 doors in this car. 3 of the windows were down. Okay? The only window that was up was almost all the way up, was the driver's window. So the driver of that vehicle had the least opportunity to get out of that vehicle when it went into the water. Some of the things we want you to discuss, and you're going to find out through the investigation, is, okay, let's look from a law enforcement standpoint. What evidence can the prosecutor and the sheriff's office prove scientifically, with evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, not based on conjecture? So, you're going to find that the investigator that was assigned to this case was his first time ever doing a lead traffic homicide, and that he never ever worked a submersion case in his career, and that he had been in the traffic homicide unit for 1 year total. You don't think that's important? But when all these factors come together, you have a crime scene. Some evidence may not be easy to determine. You have water, you have darkness, and you have an experienced or limited experienced investigator. Mistakes are going to be made. Things are going to be overlooked. Speculation, assumptions are going to be drawn. And the evidence is going to show that that's what happened in this case. One of the interesting things through this case was that my client went to the sheriff's office. He spoke to Miss Davidson. And these reports you're going to see. We're going to cross-examine these police officers. Many of them didn't put in there, oh, the driver's window was up. They left that out of the probable cause affidavits. It is an important fact. How did the driver get out of the vehicle? The state presumed my client was the driver. The state has no evidence as to how my client got out of the vehicle. None of the witnesses, none of the investigators can say how my client, if he was the driver, got out of the vehicle. Now, she mentioned that my client was found walking down the road, and that is true. and Officer Deputy Bragg is going to say he seemed disoriented. He was. He was involved in a crash in the water. May have hit his head. May have even suffered a concussion. He was walking sideways, didn't know where he was going. And he said he was fidgety in his report. He said he might have been under some substance. Never mentioned alcohol. Never said he smelled alcohol. Now, this is an officer who's not trying to solve a case, but is doing a citizen encounter. When he didn't know anything else, what did he put? Disoriented, may have been under a substance. No smell of alcohol. So he was disoriented. That they had a supervisor. He was so disoriented that they had a supervisor approved to drive him in his car, which is not usually done. You don't normally put people in a police car unless they're under arrest. They got a supervisor that said, "Go ahead, he's unsteady, he's disoriented. We don't want him walking down the highways." So they were going to give him a ride home. They don't even give him a ride home. They give him a ride to where he said take him. Okay? So he's not good enough to walk home. But the police then later went on to say, okay, whatever he says is true. So keep that in mind when the person who is objectively encountering him does not say he's on cocaine, smells or reeks of alcohol, none of that. And as the state has told you, the lab tests verify there was no cocaine, no Xanax, and there was no alcohol. Now let's talk about this road you're driving on. This road is a very, very dangerous road. And I'm not saying to go out there. It's a road off a dirt road. And the state highway people, for some reason, thought by just putting a dead end sign up was sufficient to warn people about a body of water 500 feet from that dead end. Instead of saying dead end within or having a flashing light, you're gonna see it's just said dead end. And if you go straight, you're going to go straight into the water, which is a very dangerous road. And there's no evidence of the speed. There's no evidence that whoever was driving beyond the speed. And there will be evidence that multiple cars over the years have driven exactly right into the same body of water. So there's no evidence of any reckless driving, any launching in this case. Now, the car was found 16 hours later, and you're going to hear potentially about blackouts, about concussions and disorientation and how people try to remember what happened. And I ask you to listen to that testimony carefully, because I think the evidence will fill in some gaps and explain some statements. And some of the statements you're going to hear are completely inaccurate to the crime scene, to the facts of it. We do know, and what we do agree on, is that Miss Nedeau was found in the vehicle in the river off Tower Road, pulled out. It was so dirty, the water, that the officers, the dive team that went down could not see inside the vehicle. They could not see it until the body and the car was almost out of the water. So you'll not see any photos of how the car laid resting in the river. So in order to get the car out, a tow truck was pulled in. They pulled the car out trying safety. But as you do that, with the windows being open, water's going out 3 out of the 4 windows. And we don't know what happens to the occupants, how they're moved, how the objects are moved inside the vehicle? We don't know. So we don't have an exact photo or evidence of where the persons or things were in the car at the time of impact and at the time of resting. We do know that the victim's phone was found in the driver's seat. We do know that Mr. Rushing's wallet was found in the back seat. We do know that Mr. Rushing's headband was found in the back seat. We still don't know how Mr. Rushing got out of the vehicle. You'll hear there were some injuries or an injury to Miss Nedeau. I think her head, maybe her chin. There were no injuries whatsoever on Jeffrey Rushing, no injuries to his chest, no injuries to his head, no injuries whatsoever. The car, when it came to a final resting spot, the driver's door was lodged against a tree, so there was no way a door was going to be open. The only way to exit the vehicle, probably at that point, the expert will say, via windows. And opening a car and closing a door in water is almost impossible. Because of the nature of the accident, there is no exact time frame as to when the car went in the water. We don't know if it was daylight or if it was dark. We don't know. We do know that hours later, when Mr. Rushing was tested, there was 0 alcohol. And there was some comment about about 14 or 18 beers, comments about cocaine, and comments about marijuana and Xanax. None of the cocaine, no Xanax was found in his system. Marijuana was found in his system, but to this day, we don't know if that marijuana was from prior use or post-crash use. There's no evidence. You're going to hear the term blackout during this trial. You're going to hear what a blackout is, a fragmentary blackout. It is when a person blacks out because of an injury, of head trauma, possible alcohol, where they do not recall all the events. They can only put pieces together, and as they try to put pieces together, some match and some don't match. That's what you're going to hear in this case. Now, what could have been done? What should have been done? Because the vehicle is submerged in water doesn't mean you can't do DNA testing, fiber testing, blood testing, hair testing. Those all can still be done. And we expect to call an expert who has done 360 DUI homicide cases as lead investigator. Over 1,000 cases, he supervised every traffic death by Florida Highway Patrol. He's a retired Florida Highway Patrolman. He instructed the sheriff's office how to do DUI traffic investigations. He himself has done hundreds, determining who the driver was of a vehicle. He will tell you that he will, 1, tell you that whoever was driving the car was not reckless because the road is dangerous. There's not enough signs. You can't go straight in the water, at night especially. It's very easy to do, and from the location of the dead end sign to the water, I think it's 500 feet, 13 seconds, and you will be hitting that water at 25 miles an hour. Our expert yesterday had an opportunity to go view the car, and he is looking at things in the car. He's looking, and he can tell you the speed. You're going to hear him say, I can tell you by the damage of the car what speed the car was going. I can tell you the point of impact. I can tell you where the crack in the windshield came from and why and how it was a spider. This is good, and he's very knowledgeable. And he's not some hack that the defense found. He was former law enforcement all his life. He worked for law enforcement all his life. He retired. He then went into private practice for a while, and now he's retired again. He is going to indicate to you that he saw some things in the car, that he has questions. He said that the crash in the windshield is consistent with the possible head of Miss Nedeau hitting the windshield. He looked at our client and looked at the vehicle and said he's going to testify to you that he was not the driver of the vehicle. And they will cross-examine him, of course. You'll make that final decision who the driver was. The roadway is a dangerous road. It wasn't reckless if you're driving 25 miles an hour down the road. If Miss Nedeau was driving, they went in, and if Miss Nedeau was driving, my client had no obligation to inform. He's not the driver. He did suffer an injury. Mr. Bragg, the state's own witness, is going to confirm that our client was disoriented, didn't know where he was, and to the point where they gave him a ride home. So he did suffer some type of injury. No signs of impairment on Mr. Rushing when they did the scientific test that the FTLE did, that is utilized in courtrooms all the time. There was no evidence of impairment from a scientific nature on Mr. Rushing. Now, the elements they have to prove in this case: the person driving a vehicle had physical control. The person was under the influence of alcohol or any other chemical substance to the extent their faculties were impaired or that their blood was above 0.08 or above. That the person contributed to the serious bodily injury of another operating the vehicle. That's for count 1, the DUI manslaughter. Ladies and gentlemen, as tragic as a situation this is, it is a tragic situation, no doubt about it. The state will not be able to prove or say that Mr. Rushing was driving that vehicle. The second count is for vehicular homicide. The state's going to have to prove that whoever was driving the vehicle, that they drove that vehicle in such a manner that it was a reckless manner, likely to cause death and grave bodily harm to another. So they have to prove reckless driving down the road at 25 miles an hour at night time. Whoever was driving, if they were unfamiliar with it and went into the water, it was not reckless. Careless maybe, but it wasn't indifference to life. There's no evidence that they were speeding, texting, talking on the phone. There's no evidence of that. And in the final ones, leaving the scene of a crash involving death, that's the driver of a vehicle we're all going back. All these elements go back to the driver of the vehicle, and that's what this trial is going to be about. Who was the driver of the vehicle? We know that Miss Nedeau died from this accident, but we don't know if she was driving. Her body was found in the driver's seat. The investigator, brand new, is unable to say. You're going to see photos. Her hands are in a clenching position, both her hands. And we don't know if she was clenching that steering wheel. We don't know. The investigator doesn't know. We asked the investigator, did you collect DNA? Well, no, not really. Did you look? I did a cursory look. A cursory look? We have a death. The state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very high standard, that my client was driving, that he caused the accident, that he drove recklessly, and that he didn't render aid. And ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the standard is such a high burden, they won't be able to prove it. And they will make some assumptions, and they will make some speculations, but when it comes down to the physical evidence, they will not be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And we hope you render your verdict based on the evidence, not because Miss Nedeau was killed or died. She did, but we want you to base your decision on the evidence, and we trust that you will.
All right, Chris, we're going to record an interview, and
Okay.
just to get, I've already asked you your name and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
This is reference to case number 1484967. I don't even know if I told you who I am. I'm Sergeant Jim Tyson, and what we're going to do is go over the story so I understand it in a chronological order.
Yes,
Okay, we've talked about it here and there, but I want to understand it chronologically. So when I write my report, I got it accurate.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Trying to get this timeline down.
Yeah, I'm going to get my timeline. That's all I'm trying to do, and understand everything. How long have you and Jordan been dating?
About a year now.
Okay. And how long has she been living with you over on Golden Park Lane?
I mean, me and her just moved in there this past month in July. We were living on Gaffney Loop.
How long have y'all been living together?
Probably about 5 months now, 6 months.
And y'all are on Gaffney Loop?
Yes, sir. We were on
And
Gaffney.
then in July, mid-July, end of July,
Beginning.
beginning of July, y'all moved?
Or I guess it was actually like very beginning of July or late June, early July.
Okay. Y'all moved into Golden Park
Yes, sir.
with Austin.
Yes, sir. And it was supposed to be just a temporary because the lease ran out on Gaffney Loop, so we're in the process of trying to find somewhere else that's a little more permanent. But
Okay. What's Austin's last name?
Gary.
Gary?
Gary.
Okay. All right. And how do you know him?
High school. We just went to high school. He was a grade or two ahead of me.
Okay. All right. So y'all been dating a year, living over there, or living here about a month.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So last night, where does she work at? Where does Jordan work?
She works at the country club in Quincy.
She's supposed to work today?
No, she only works Thursdays and Fridays.
In Havana or Quincy?
Quincy.
What's she do over there? I'm just curious.
She's just a bartender / waitress.
She's a bartender. She's under 21?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, is she from over there, too?
No, sir. She's from here. She actually went to high school in Shipley.
Okay. Where does her
And,
parents live?
They live here. They live over in Clarn.
Did they come from live over there, too?
Yeah, they lived in Shipley.
And they just
And they moved back here,
Ah, okay.
I guess, for the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I recognize them from there.
Yes, sir.
They're very nice people.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see. So last night, let's find out what happened last night. Y'all had a concert y'all went to.
Yes, sir. A buddy of ours that we graduated with, he's in a band, and they played last night.
Or who was that?
The band's Morning Fatty.
And who's the guy?
The guy is Miller Joyner. He's the lead guitarist.
Is it Y or I?
I think it's Joiner.
Okay. All right, so he's in a band.
Yes, sir.
And
And
y'all went to the Atmosphere.
yes, sir.
Where's that at?
Atmosphere it's like right behind Los Compadres on Pensacola.
Okay. Okay. Right here, by us.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, let me back up just a little bit. Austin. What's his girlfriend's name?
Skylar.
Skylar. She lives at that house on Golden Park, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, and it's you and Jordan.
Yes, sir.
Y'all live there. Who else lives there?
That's it. It's just us four.
Right. Last night, however, who all was there at the house? The after party.
Well, see, that's the thing. It was a lot of random people. Cause
How many people would you say there was? Just guesstimate.
I mean, it wasn't like a giant party or anything, and not many people stayed long.
People were coming and going.
Yeah, there was probably like 20, 25 people at its max, but I mean, people were just coming and going.
Who all crashed? Slept there. That guy that was just got interviewed.
Yeah.
What's his
Tyler Cook.
Skylar. Austin. You. Sergeant Tyson. Hey. What? Okay. All right. Hang on just a minute. I'm in an interview. Let me walk out. Yeah, let's try. I got this guy's number. Try this number. 545-2249. That's her boyfriend who I'm 10-12 with right now. His phone went missing last night from the after party at the house. He didn't know if it got stolen or if she took it because her phone went missing 3 days ago. So let me ask him. I got the recording so I can probably get verbal confirmation. Do you give us permission to try to track and ping this phone to see if she has it?
Yeah.
You give me verbal confirmation?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's just, it's off though. Can you still track it if it's off?
Yeah. It's off now, but we don't
Yeah.
know what it was last night.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he gave us permission to do that. All right, thanks.
Anything that you can do to help find her, please do it.
Okay. All right. Let me write this down. All right, Tyler Cook, Skylar, Austin, you, Jordan, Teddy, which is Hunter, or Jeffrey, wherever he goes by. Who else?
I had a friend, Fletcher.
Fletcher?
Yes, sir.
What's his last name?
Bond, Vaughn.
B-A-U...
V.
Oh, Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Oh, no, I spelled that, okay. Fletcher Vaughn.
And then I'm not sure, because I went to sleep before a lot of people. I was really tired, and I don't know if there was anybody else that stayed there, because I didn't wake up till 10 o'clock till Teddy was banging on my
Do you
door.
remember any other people that stayed there?
No, sir.
Okay. When you woke up this morning, was any other people besides these people at the house?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. All right, so what time do you think y'all got to your house after where did y'all go after you left Atmosphere?
Well, we left Atmosphere, and then...
At what time?
I want to say probably around 1:30 or so.
Okay.
And then, yeah, then the band came with their RV, they came, and then they brought a couple of their friends.
They came to your house?
Yes, sir.
To Gold Park. All right.
And then,
Did they play at your house?
no, they didn't play.
All right, so who else in that band?
What's that?
Who all's in the band? How many people's in the band? I'm just curious.
There's 3 other guys.
Besides Miller.
Yes, sir, besides Miller. So 4 altogether.
Believe it or not, I can read this chicken scratch. All right. So you leave about 1:30. You go to the house. 20, 25 people are there. People are coming and going. And so you went to bed about, I've heard you say 2:30 and I've heard you say 3 prior to us coming in this room.
Yes, sir. It was somewhere between 2 and 2:30 because the band left. Austin said he left with the band at 3 o'clock. So, I mean, people, like, the majority of the people were only there an hour. And I went to sleep before, so yeah, it had to be before 3 because I was asleep, or I was going to sleep while people were still
Where
there.
was Jordan when you went to sleep?
She was just in the house.
Yeah, partying.
Yes, sir. Just hanging out with Skylar and everybody else.
Had she been drinking a lot?
She'd been drinking a little bit, not much though.
Okay. You got Verizon.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Can you guys track it to like where it was right before it went off? Or?
That's what he's working on. Alright, so you went to bed about 2:30, approximately 2:30. Could be 2:30, 2:45 maybe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, and Jordan was in the house.
Yes, sir. She was definitely in the house.
And did you see who she was hanging out with? Or did you tell her you were crashing? Were you drinking last night?
Yes, sir. I was drinking.
Would you consider yourself drunk and you passed out, or you just?
Yes, sir. I was pretty intoxicated, and I told her, I said, hey, babe, I gotta go to sleep. I'm so sick.
Had y'all had any words or argument, or dudes sometimes get angry when they
No,
get
sir.
mean and stuff when they drink.
No, sir. We were completely fine.
Okay. Did y'all have any relations last night?
No, sir. Did not.
You know what I mean when I say relations, sexual relations last night.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, we did not.
Okay. So you talked to her before we went to bed.
Yes, sir.
What time did you wake up today?
I woke up at 10 o'clock with Teddy banging on my door, telling me this whole story. Cause I went to sleep, said good night, babe, I love you, I'll see you in a little bit. Cause she said she was gonna come sleep.
And what story did he tell you?
What's that?
What story did he tell you?
What story did?
When he was pounding on the door, what story did he tell you?
He was just so sporadic. He said he was driving and then hit water, and then next thing he knew, he was waking up with a cop waking him up, and then Teddy really has no recollection of last night.
So why does he think that it happened at Tower Road Landing if he doesn't have any recollection?
Well, see, that's the thing. We didn't know, and we didn't know where they were talking about. And then our neighbor, who's a pizza delivery driver, Teddy told him what it sounded like, and he was like, "Oh, it's Tower Road. That's the only road that turns into a dirt road and runs into water."
Did he ever? Does Teddy even know where he got picked up today?
I don't think so. But I haven't really I didn't really talk to Teddy about that. We were just more concerned about finding Jordan than we were
Okay. And I asked you this earlier. I'm trying to figure out why y'all didn't think it was important to let somebody know, law enforcement, to start looking, you know what I mean, until later today.
Yes, sir.
If it had been my girlfriend, just put yourself in somebody else's shoes. it just seems weird.
Yes, sir.
If your girlfriend's missing and somebody said that she was possibly drowned in water
Yes, sir.
in a car, you know, it just seems very odd to me that somebody wouldn't tell somebody.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Call her parents. I'd have called, I mean, be the first thing I would have done,
Yes, sir.
called her parents. You know what I mean? It just seems strange. Do you see my interpretation?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your explanation for that?
Honestly, I wanted to wait and see if she would turn up, and Teddy was also worried about him getting a DUI and stuff. I was like, because I wanted to call the cops. I was like, Teddy, we have to do the right thing. Like, you have to, even if you get in trouble. Like, this is my girlfriend. Her life is on the line. And then that's when Teddy was like, I have my grandfather. He can get it started a lot faster than if we just called and, like, started a missing
What time did
person.
he call his grandfather? Do you know?
I don't remember.
All right.
So,
All right, so after he told you this story, what point did y'all go down and start looking?
well, that's the thing. It was probably 10:30 or 11 because we talked about it, and then we got the idea that it was Tower Road, and we rode down it.
Where'd the pizza delivery guy come into play? I don't know. Does he live in a neighborhood?
Yeah, he lives in the neighborhood, and he just came over like when we told him that. Like when he heard about it, he was like,
How did he hear about it?
I mean, he just came over this morning to see like how everybody was doing from last night,
Oh.
and then when he found that out, that's when he was
What's
like,
his name?
What is his name? It's Nick. I don't know his last name though.
White guy, black guy?
He's a white guy.
What pizza place does he work for?
Hungry Howie's.
And he lives right there on your street?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's he drive?
I don't even know what it is. It's like a tiny little, like Toyota or something. It's weird looking. He
What
has
color?
like, it's gray and it has like black decals on it.
All right, so y'all are telling him the story, or Teddy's telling him the story?
Well, yeah, Teddy said all he remembers was driving down a dirt road and then hitting water. And that's when Nick was like, it would have to be Tower. That's the only road that runs into water anywhere around here. So that's it. We immediately jumped in the car, ran over there to see if his car was
Was
like...
Austin with you then?
Yes, sir. Austin was with me.
Austin said he didn't get there till about noon. Does that sound more accurate?
Oh, wait. Trying to think now. I can't remember if Austin was with me this morning or not. When did...
How many times have you been down there?
I've been down there a total of 3 times today.
Okay. What time were they?
The first time it was early this morning at 10, and then
No, not at 10, because that's when the deputy got him and everything.
oh yeah, you're right. So it had to be like 10:30 or 11. It was really soon after Teddy got there,
All right, so 11. What was the next one?
and then I didn't go back down there till a little bit later.
At one point in time, you went to Austin. Yes or no?
No, I didn't go with Austin until this afternoon.
So what time was the second one?
The second one was probably, when was it? It was right when Teddy came here to get interviewed. So it was probably about, I don't know.
So you went in there twice, not 3 times. 11 and then when...
Yeah, and then I've ran back and forth in between.
So 11 and then when Teddy came to the when I saw you down there,
Yes, sir.
Teddy came...
That was the second time.
Okay, did you ever call her parents? How'd her parents know to come?
I saw her brother this morning, and I told him, and then that's when he told his parents.
All right. Tell me about, her doing cocaine last night. What do you know about her doing that, her first time doing that? What have you heard? Or what do you know?
I mean, I heard she did some last night. I don't know. She's never done it before. And that's why it was really weird to me that she did it.
Right. Besides drinking, was she just drinking beer last night? Or was she doing shots? Or was she doing... what does she usually drink?
Yeah, she just drinks mixed drinks.
Mixed drinks?
Yes, sir.
How many do you think... Did you pay for them last night?
No, sir. She was sharing... I feel like she was sharing a bottle with a different girl. It might have been Skylar.
Bottle of...
I don't even know what the bottle was. I think it might have been Ciroc. I think I saw Ciroc in the freezer.
Okay. What, anything you think of in between?
What's that?
Anything else you can think of that you need to talk about?
I'm trying to think. I went down there the first time with everybody. Now that you say that, I don't think Austin was with me the first time, but he went down there again.
Have y'all checked have you checked any other bodies of water?
No, sir.
Okay.
Just that one. Because Teddy said, or apparently the officer, Greg, or whoever picked up Teddy, did confirm that it was that road. So that's just where we've been going back and forth.
Okay. Who did you hear from that she did cocaine last night?
Who told me?
Teddy tell you?
Yeah. I think it was Teddy.
Okay. Do you know if they went down there to buy cocaine? Because they sell cocaine on Tower Road.
I have no idea. See, that's what I don't understand, because I went to sleep.
Did she do powder, or she do crack, or what she do?
I have no idea. Because she's never done drugs like that, and so that's why I don't...
What she usually do is just smoke weed and drink?
Yes, sir.
She didn't do any pills or anything like that?
No, sir. That's why it was weird to me, the fact that... Because last night I told her, I said, "Love you, babe, I'm going to sleep." And she said, "Okay, I'm not going to be too far behind you."
Okay.
And next thing I know, I'm waking up to Teddy. So there's just a big gap. And I don't know what she did for like 3 hours before her and Teddy went. Like, I don't know. Because everyone else apparently fell asleep, and it was just her and Teddy.
If we determine in the course of this investigation that she has passed, and she passed in the car, and we determine based on toxicology, I'm giving you some what ifs, and that she aspirated or died prior to getting in the water, meaning she died prior to getting in the water. Okay, let's just this is hypothetical. What do you think should happen to the person if they had knowledge that she had already passed? What do you think should happen to that person that was part of the group that allowed this to, or helped cover it up, if we were able to determine that?
I mean...
What do you think should happen?
I don't know. I don't think she would overdose, though. I mean, it was...
But if she weighs 100 pounds?
Yes, sir.
Okay. She's drinking a lot, right? And she's never done cocaine before. Does she know how much to do?
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what she did in those 3 hours before she got in the car. I don't know how many... I don't know if she took shots before. She was still very there when I was going to sleep.
If based on the totality of all the circumstances, and we talk to everybody, and they tell us that you didn't go to sleep at 2:30, what do you think we should think then?
I don't know.
Should we believe everybody else and not believe you? I'm just asking.
I mean, I
I mean,
know.
if we got consistent stories from different people
Yes,
that
sir.
you didn't go to bed at 3 o'clock or 2:30 or whatever, and what would you think based on us, from our viewpoint, what would you think about that? What would you think that you're trying to hide something? Would you think that?
I mean, yeah, if that's what the story that you're getting from people, but I know for a fact that I went to sleep around then.
Okay. All right. Don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm trying to understand.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm not trying to be nasty to you. I'm asking you real life stuff because this is
Yes,
it
sir.
is what it is.
Yes, sir.
If we determine that Teddy helped dispose of her body, if she passed away prior to, what do you think should happen to him?
I mean, God forbid Teddy did anything like that to my girlfriend. The thing I'm most mad
Well, what
about,
do you answer the question? What should happen to him?
jail.
Why do you think that? I mean, you think he deserves that?
I mean, I'm most pissed off about the fact that he left her in that car. Like, if it had been me driving and I drove into water when she was there in the passenger seat, the first thing I would do would be to get her. She would be priority.
What kind of, and it doesn't matter because we can do toxicology on him. What do you know he's involved in besides drinking? And just be straight with me. I'm not going to go follow him around and try to catch him buying dope, but what does he do that you have knowledge of?
I mean, I just know that he drinks and smokes.
Smokes weed.
Yes, sir.
All right. You know of any other drugs he does? He takes maybe occasionally, or he's talked about wanting to do, or anything like that.
Mm-mm. Not it.
What about yourself?
Mm-mm. I just smoke and drink.
Is there anything you can think of that you'd like to get off your chest about the situation?
I'm so confused because I went to sleep seeing her face and I woke up with Teddy crying, saying, I fucked up. And so it's just so surreal to me right now because everything was fine last night. We had a great time at the concert. We were having a good time at the after party. Everybody was starting to leave. Everybody was starting to crash. And for some reason, they stayed up. And I don't understand why they went or drove anywhere. No one else did. It was just them. Like, I don't know what their motive was.
You told me earlier prior to us coming in this room that he's one of your good friends.
Yes, sir.
And that she does hang out with him also. I mean, she doesn't think he's nasty or whatever. She doesn't dislike him.
Yeah.
Right. So, has she ever gone off riding with him before?
No, sir.
Okay. Have the three of y'all ever gone off riding before?
No, sir. Not just a ride like that.
What do you drive?
The Hyundai Sonata.
Oh, that's right. And she drives that little white car?
Yes, sir. The white Civic.
Is it broken?
It's been like, I don't know if it's the fuel pump, but it keeps stalling out like at high speeds. So I've been letting her use my vehicle to go to and from work just because it's such a long drive. But I'm just so baffled by this whole, like, it doesn't even feel real. Because everything was happy and then I opened my eyes and it's just hell.
Alright, dude. I think this is going to conclude the interview now at 9:47 hours. Or correction, 21:47 hours.
Okay.
Alright, come on out. All right, hey, I'm gonna walk him down. Is there anybody?
River.
Hey, dude. I don't know what you said.
Maybe we'll talk to you a little more. Make sure we clarify some of the details.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get you out of here pretty soon. You're not under arrest or anything like that, but we just gotta ask you some more intense questions, so I gotta advise you of this. You're not under arrest or anything like that, so don't get freaked out. What's it, you know the case number? I think I got it right here. Come on. You got it? Yeah, I got it. What time is that clock right? No, that ain't right. Is it? Yeah, it is right. Was it the second still?
Third, yes.
A lot longer.
Alright. And your name is?
Full name is Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Hunter Rushing.
AKA Teddy.
Yes, sir.
Alright.
Yeah, nobody gets in Jeffrey Hunter, nobody Teddy. And my dad's nickname is when it come out carbon copy.
Yeah, you do. I noticed that. You do look a lot like him.
Things like nicknames we handed down.
Alright, dude, I gotta read these to you. You're not under arrest. Don't freak out when I read these to you. No big deal. You understand you have the right to remain silent. That means you don't have to talk to us if you don't want to.
Yes, sir.
Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have them present with you during any question. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
This is getting freaks you out hearing this, don't it?
Not a
Hey,
whole lot.
don't worry about it. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, won't be appointed for you before any question if you wish. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Let me do this. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, won't be appointed for you before any question if you wish. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I think that's the second time I read that. Yes, sir. Okay. You can decide any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statement. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sign that right there.
All right.
I'll be right back with you. Go ahead without me.
That's horrible.
Sorry, man. Thanks, everyone. Mine ain't much better. It's late.
Yeah, it's good. Been a long day.
You want to wait until I'm done?
Sure. A lot of dirt in my rear end. All right. Go ahead.
Very good. Well, basically, we just want to go over the whole thing with you again.
Yes.
Make sure we got all our details straight. Make sure we got, everything as clear as we possibly can get cleared. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After we've talked to everybody else,
Yes, sir.
we just want to understand the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because when he first talked to you at the beginning, we didn't have all the knowledge that we have now from
Yes, sir.
listening to everybody else.
Get everybody's point of view. Everybody's side of it.
So we're just trying to understand it.
Especially when things like heavy drinking are going on and people's memories are wishy-washy.
All right. Well, let's start at the yesterday.
Alright. I went over there. It was around 2. It was about 3 o'clock when I left from my house.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You went over to the
Golden Park. Yes, sir. And it takes me about 30 minutes after I got over there. Sometime right before 4. Me and Austin went up and watched sound check. That was about 6:15 because we know the guy in the band and everything.
Let's back up. When you got there, what you just hang out? Did you start drinking?
No, sir. Yes, sir. We did have we had a beer.
A few of them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many do you think you had before you went up to the sound check?
Before sound check, I can remember because I was sitting on about 4.
Okay. And what kind of beer was it?
It's Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Okay.
Ooh, I don't know how you drink that.
Like kind of nasty. Alright, so we went up to sound check and I was about 6:15, 6:30 or so. Hung out, I'd say about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. So we went back to the house and put about 7:30.
And well, let's back up. Who was at the house when you got there?
Oh, that one meeting when we came back from sound check?
No, just back up. Who was at the house when you first got there?
When I first got there, it was just me and Chris and Austin.
Okay. So, and then y'all leave to go to sound check, come back.
But it was just me and Austin. Chris stayed at the house. He had
Then
something he had to do.
Who was there when y'all got back?
When we got back, Chris. Pretty sure Skylar was there then. We came back to sound check. There wasn't. I parked in the same spot, and so there wasn't any extra cars. It must have just been Skylar and I guess Jordan was there too. I'm not sure. We just sat around and played FIFA on Xbox. People were coming and going all day long.
Okay. So y'all get back from sound check and you go there, say just hanging out playing FIFA?
Yes, sir.
And say Skylar and Jordan and Chris
and then no, when we got back from sound, I think Tyler was there then.
Okay.
Tyler Cook, I think y'all thought him.
So Tyler, Jordan, Skylar, Chris, and Austin?
Yes.
Okay. And
Pretty sure that was it.
when y'all got back, did y'all continue to drink some?
Yes, we had a couple more beers.
Okay.
And then...
Everybody, or just you?
Not everybody, but not just me. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure at least one other person had a beer.
Who's that?
Oh goodness. It was actually Tyler's friend. His name was Shannon. I don't know him very well.
Okay.
Shannon had a beer, but at that point, nobody was really getting into it. Austin and some friend he had over like previously before I got there, they were drinking a couple beers, but they didn't have very many. Like I only saw like one or two. They must have got like 6 or something. I'm not sure.
All right. So what happened?
Alright, we're back at the house, chilling, just hanging out, having a good time. But showtime rolls around, so we all get together and go right back up to the atmosphere.
What time was that?
It's probably a little after 9. We didn't get there like as soon as the doors opened, but we got there shortly after. Because the first band hadn't gone on yet.
What time's the doors opening there?
They either opened at 8 or 9.
Okay.
I'm not positive.
Was it dark yet?
No.
We just started what, 9:30?
So it's probably closer to like 8. But it was getting there, so it's somewhere in that window.
Okay.
Alright, so get to the bar, hang out, watch the first band, they're alright, and then our buddies get up or start doing their thing, have a good time. You know, I'm not drinking I didn't drink at the bar, but everybody else was. Because I was actually going to drive back, so I wanted to be more responsible there. And I guess the concert wrapped up time after midnight or 1 o'clock or so. Then we went back to the house, had the after party, had everybody come over, the whole band, my crew and everybody. And that lasted for a couple, 2-3 hours. The crowd started thinning out. Probably about 4 o'clock rolls around, and we're all tore down. Most everybody's passed out. And
What were y'all doing to get tore down?
we'd been drinking, you know, for a while at that point. So everybody.
What was y'all drinking?
I was still drinking PBRs.
Oh.
Yes.
You wouldn't switch on liquor or nothing like that? But you.
Oh no! I take that back. I did have one shot when we got back to the house of some.
How many beers would you say you had?
And over the course of the whole night, from before we went to the bar till, you know, after party, I had an 18-pack, and I gave away at least 4. Gave away at least 4, so
Okay.
max I'd say 14 during the whole.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier you were hazy because of wine.
Atmosphere, right before, or around the time when our friends went on, I was given a Xanax, and
How many of them?
just one.
How
But
many
it
of them?
don't take. I'm not sure. It was probably a 1 milligram or a 2. I'm not
How
positive.
do they sell it? I don't know.
Actually, they just gave it as my buddy.
Have you never taken it before?
I've taken them like a couple of times, but I mean it's not.
It amplifies it when you drink. Is that my understanding of how it works?
Yes, sir. It makes it. I guess it does amplify a little bit, but I mean it. I don't think
when you take it just normal, then it kind of just make you chill.
Yeah, honestly, I think I don't have a prescription for it, but I could probably go to the doctor and get one. It's something I probably could use. It's anxiety medicine. I have anxiety.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I don't know. They say it like doubles or triples it. I don't believe that because triple 13 beers is 40. I was nowhere near that level, but yes, sir, it does amplify a little bit and definitely messes with your memory. It makes everything so foggy and hazy.
All right, so.
All right, where were we? We was at the after party. Everybody's clearing out. I honestly don't even recall the actual point where we were like, all right, let's go get in the car. I just remember being in the car, going down the road. I mean, I remember before that, Jordan was like, saying, yeah, let's go somewhere, let's go somewhere, let's go somewhere. Then I remember being in the car. Then I remember, so it was old Bramer. I remember turning on Bramer. Then I remember going down that straight road, turned to dirt, and the next thing I know, I'm flying into them. Then I'm off the road and then in water. From that point, the next thing I'm outside of the car, trying to get it open, freaking out, start taking off.
You started beating on the windows? Which one?
Driver's side.
It was up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was there any windows down? None? Okay. Alright.
Not that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure they were all up.
Your air conditioner doesn't work.
It doesn't work, which doesn't make sense. They should have been rolled down.
Yeah. So you think they were up? Okay. Now, was she alert when you remember the car going into the water?
Yeah, she was awake.
Because hypothetically, if we ended up finding the car, you can tell if somebody was breathing when they went in the water or if they were not breathing. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Like if they drowned or if they were already deceased.
No.
Okay.
No. This is not how it happened.
No, I'm just asking.
I understand.
I'm just asking questions.
It's been a long day and it's...
I'm just asking some questions.
Yes, I understand.
Why were y'all going down there?
That's the thing. I don't know if we were just
going for... Two things I can think of. People go down there for, honestly. To do drugs.
Well, we were at the house. When we had the house to do that.
Yeah, but if you need to re-up, I'm giving you a hypothetical.
Yes, sir.
There's a couple different places on Tower Road that you can easily purchase that. You might not know that, but I'm telling you that there is.
I understand.
And the other reason is what? Sex.
If we weren't going to have sex, we were going to watch the sun come up. That's literally the only other thing I can think of. Is about that time.
Did y'all have sex?
No.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, but I don't see how it could possibly have fit into there.
Because you realize that if we do find her and they're going to do tests and stuff on her, and they'll be able to determine if she had sexual intercourse and DNA and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I just want to know that straight up.
And like I was saying earlier, Chris is one of my best friends. I wouldn't let him touch her. I mean.
Okay. I just got to ask.
Yes,
hard questions.
And like I said, we definitely weren't going down there to get or do drugs.
Okay. And she chose the spot?
Yes, sir. I'd never been down there before in my life.
Okay. All right. And
I know Jordan.
So what happened after that?
After that?
Yeah. When you went to
I went to go down the road to get help, and I blacked out. And then Mr. Bragg found me.
What's the last thing you remember after coming out of the water?
The road, and then the Benson side, I don't know if I saw the Benson side coming in or out, but I know I saw the Benson sign, and I remember the road. I remember going down the road, and then it was clocked out.
And where did the deputy find you?
Over in front of, like, Penske. I think it was near Capitol Circle.
Oh, where Ring
About-
Tower used to be?
Toplin Electric.
They said it was about 3 miles from where Tower Road was.
And you think, and you were passed out then? What would you say would you say you were intoxicated? I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, out of, what would you say?
At that point in time,
No. During the time of the crash.
I mean, I've had some beers and that Xanax, but
I'm just
maybe
wondering.
6. I mean, maybe.
So you've been in a lot worse before.
Oh yeah. Like,
Well, let me ask you this.
I mean,
obviously it's not the first you drink in the past. Do you normally pass out when you drink?
I do have a bad tendency to black out and just forget a lot.
Do you normally take Xanax and drink? So
Not on any sort of basis. It's not the first time, but I mean, it's not something I do like on a regular basis every weekend or anything like that.
It was mentioned by some others that there might have been some other drugs involved. Did you do any other cocaine?
Yes, sir, I did a little bit.
How much cocaine do you think you had?
Not much. I had one little line.
Okay.
Oh, one little line and one little bump.
Okay.
And that
What
was
time was that?
that was right after we got back. So that was about 1-ish or so.
Did you
Right-
see
right
Did you see her taking you?
I did not see her with my own eyes. I was told she took a bump or two, but I mean, there wasn't enough there for anybody to do enough damage. Like, we only got, I think it was just over a gram for every, like, you know, and it was going around. I mean, it wasn't, you know.
Wasn't a lot.
No.
For several people.
Yeah, I mean, it went, you know, pretty quick, and it was, you know, the rest of the night.
And when you say a bump, you're talking about powder cocaine.
Yes.
Bump of that.
Yes, just not like a.
I know what it is, but I want to make sure I understand.
Yes,
We're on the same sheet
Yes,
of music.
yes.
Okay. So a line of cocaine would be powder form. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then the bump was powder form too, just like a little tiny amount.
Right. Okay. And that usually picks you up a little bit when you've been drinking, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because drinking is depressant.
Cocaine is not by any means my drug of choice or my second or third or fourth or fifth. It's that type of thing. Once in a blue moon, you know, more fatties playing a show, let's go see Miller, get a little bit of, you know, that type of thing.
Okay.
Did you take cocaine before you took the Xanax, or was that after?
No, sir, I took Xanax at the club. I did the line
When you got
right,
back?
yeah, right after we got back.
Besides the drugs and the alcohol we've talked about, anything?
I mean, I smoked a little bit, but that was earlier. I didn't smoke
weed?
Yes, sir.
Marijuana?
Yes, sir.
That just smells you up.
Yeah.
What time would you do that?
Long enough that it probably wasn't even affecting me, so it didn't last maybe max 2 hours or so.
Before you went?
No, I'm saying it only lasts maybe about.
Oh, I know how long it lasts. I was talking about how.
Um,
What time of night?
Shoot, last time we smoked was. Last time I remember smoking any weed was before we went to Atmosphere.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just do a rundown. You tell me if I got this right.
Yes.
Y'all go to you did a little sound check early, and then you went to Atmosphere about 8:30, 9 o'clock. All right, y'all stay there till about 1:30. You go back, you have your after party. You've been drinking up until that point. You do a Xanax before you leave. You go back, y'all do some more drinking. Approximately 14 beers. Then you leave, and you get a little bump of cocaine.
Well, not right then. Like
No.
that 14 was like the
No,
four,
I mean during that whole time
yes,
period.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that. During that window of time period,
Yes.
from the time before you went to the concert.
Yeah,
to
from about 5 in the afternoon until about 4 in the morning.
Okay. So, and then you and Jordan get in a car approximately 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock? I've heard 4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. I don't think it was 6, but I didn't have my phone on me. I don't ever remember like looking and seeing.
Where is
the
your
time.
phone?
As far as I know, it was in my truck, so I couldn't find it at Chris's house.
What time did you cut it off?
I don't. It normally dies on me. I'm pretty bad about that.
It cut off about. It was cut off about 1:22. You were still at the bar.
Yes, it must have died on me. Yep. I remember that.
You turned off?
I remember having it at the bar and calling Chris because when I was outside to see where he was at. And that was the last time I used my phone. So yeah, probably died about 1 o'clock. Makes sense.
Okay. Alright, so then you guys leave, go back to Golden Park
Yes.
Place or whatever, and then have the after party and all that kind of stuff, and then you and her drive. She tells you to go down to this landing, this boat landing.
I didn't even know there was a landing down there.
And
I don't know if she knew there was a landing down there.
But she run into the river, and we never even talked about that too much the last time. You run into the river, and you get out of the car some kind of way.
It was so quick. I honestly don't really have the recollection of getting the latch or.
But you got out, and then you couldn't open your door again? Okay. And did you ever try to go on her side?
Well, she was pushing it.
And she couldn't get it open?
No.
All right. And
maybe I should.
no, I'm just asking. I want to understand what side you're on.
Yes, sir.
I
was on the driver's side.
And you tried the front door?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever try the back door? Is it 4 door?
Yes, sir.
Or did you try the back door? Okay. And you said you were beating on the window, and that's the front driver's window?
Yes, sir.
And
Punching it.
Punching it?
But I was trying to break it.
Yeah. Is it swollen?
I mean, it's a little black and blue.
Okay. All right, so you punch in the window, no luck, and you see her trying to open up the door. But I asked you earlier if she was awake when you went to the water, and you looked kind of puzzled. Was she awake when you?
Yeah.
She was?
Yes.
Okay. So she's trying to get out of the car, and last you looked, when you left to go get help, it was still kind of floating. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't all the way under or nothing.
All right, so next thing you know, you're waking up at 10 o'clock, getting woke up by the deputy. Okay.
Well,
You don't remember any of the walk?
I had, I guess, just woken up. I don't know if maybe somebody from a business place came out and shook me or something, I don't know. But I remember coming back, realizing I didn't know exactly where I was, but, gathering my surroundings, looking back, I was Lipinski, and then the deputy showed up.
Okay.
That was the very next thing I got.
And what was the reasoning behind not telling him at that point?
I had no good reason. I was scared, and
if you don't mind me asking, what were you scared of? I'm just trying to understand, that's all.
I was scared she was dead. I was scared I killed her.
Yeah? Were you scared you were going to get in trouble, or?
I just wanted to go and try and go down there and find her and make everything alright before that was a very bad mistake.
So you get home after the deputy drops you off?
Yes, sir.
And you tell Chris at that point in time?
I told Skylar, and then, because as soon as I come through the door, she was there, and then we go knock on Chris's door, wake him up.
Did you get upset when you came in the house? Because you realized that, what did you realize? I
realized that I had passed out, and I wasn't sure how long it had been, and I thought it had been a long time.
Well, it's about 10 o'clock when he got you home. or picked you up or whatever. So
It's already been 5-6 hours.
So at what point did you let anybody know in your family?
It was 1:30 or so.
And what was the purpose and delay of time on that?
I was just trying to find. We did everything we could think of. We were calling. We were on the roll. I mean, on the ball. We were calling y'all. We were calling the hospitals. We were calling everybody we could think of.
You didn't call us?
Oh, I personally didn't. Skylar was on the phone. I was upset. But yeah, Skylar called. I don't think she ever gave her actual information or anything. But she was calling, asking, if Jordan Nedeau had been picked up, or if anything like that.
Well, this might be just the law enforcement officer in me saying this, but don't you think letting us know we could have maybe expedited this and maybe, you know what I mean? So I don't understand the process of waiting. If you can help me understand.
Well, I'm waiting to call y'all. We were trying to handle it. I mean, and when we exhausted every possible resource we could think of, to our disposal, personally.
Is it true that Austin had to talk you into coming up here finally this afternoon?
No.
Or Chris? Who talked you into coming up here?
Talked me into coming up here?
Yeah. Who convinced you it was time to come up here?
Well, we were all talking, and when it got, it had been a couple hours, and I think Austin did say it. It's like we need to call the police, and then I called my granddad, and he contacted y'all.
And your granddad?
Well, I called my mom to call my granddad.
And who's your granddad?
Raymond and Brian.
Okay. He used to work here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You have anything else?
Yeah, a little bit about Jordan at the party. Did you see her drinking any?
I saw her drinking something at the bar.
What was she drinking, you know?
It was some old fruity drink. I think it was a vodka drink.
That was at the bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't really recall seeing her drinking all that much. I mean, she was, well,
what about
I think that's in my opinion. She's a tiny little night-town girl. I mean, doesn't take her quite as much. But
when y'all got back to the house, did she drink anymore?
Honestly, there was so many people there. I wasn't right there with her. There was probably 25 people. And a bunch of people that I hadn't seen in a while, that I hadn't gone to school with and stuff. I wasn't
Well, was she intoxicated?
We all were. Everybody.
I mean, two intoxicated drive. I mean, why didn't she drive, or why did you drive?
I mean, she didn't drive because she's smart, and I drove because I'm a dummy.
You were too drunk to drive?
Well, anyone drunk is too drunk to drive.
Yeah. You said
I wasn't drunk to the point where I was swerving all over the road. I was straightening the lines, and I remember that. And well, from what I do remember, I was driving fine.
But you were blacking out while you're driving, or?
Well, they were asking earlier what were we talking about, and I can't for the life of me remember what the topic of your conversation was.
What was the purpose of going down there? Well,
honestly, I think we were just joyriding.
You're minimizing a little bit, man, and here's what I'm saying. On one hand, you say, I was not that drunk because I was, but on the other hand, I was so drunk that I don't remember nothing, and I blacked out for 4 hours.
The Xanax bar it not necessarily makes you that much drunker, but exacerbates the memory loss.
Right. Well,
to the point where it would.
Right, but do you realize that taking Xanax, it affects you, okay? So what I'm trying to understand is with the alcohol and the Xanax, would you say you're pretty wasted?
I mean,
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I'm trying to understand if somebody can't remember why they went down someplace, exactly where they went to, and then they're out from till. Let's just say y'all went out there at 6 o'clock. Let's just say we give it 6 o'clock. I think it had more around 4. And by your own, because so let's just say 6 for the sake of argument. 4 hours, you was out.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So I think it was longer than that. I think it's probably closer to 5 or 6 hours. Let's just say it took you 30, 40 minutes to walk. That you don't even remember the walk. You know what I mean? Because I've been intoxicated before, and I've been really intoxicated before, and I really can't think of a time where I just cannot remember anything. I mean, there's been times where I've probably things are a little fuzzy, but I remember exactly everything that I did.
All my friends are like, they refer to me as a blackout, whatever. It just doesn't take me as much to black out.
No.
If
I drank 14 beers, I would be probably blacked out too.
Well, I drank 6 or so and then had that break.
Right.
So,
I'm not trying to.
Yes, I understand.
I'm just trying to understand. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that your actions were normal for you? Do you normally do this kind of stuff, or? I mean, I know you enjoy partying, okay, but do you normally drink and drive?
I have a bad habit of getting behind the wheel without even remembering getting behind the wheel.
Okay.
I do have a bad habit of that.
All right, you got anything else?
No.
All right.
If y'all need me to come back up more, I'll be
Okay.
welcome.
All right. Let me go check with my supervisor real quick and find out what the plan is. And,
yes, sir.
I'll be right back with you.
Okay. Would it be alright if I waited out here?
No, just hang out here for us.
You need to use the bathroom or anything?
No.
Okay. You need any water or anything like that?
I'll give you some water.
I'll give you some water.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be right back.
Alright.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk out here, so we're just trying to keep it kind of private while we're talking.
Okay.
So it's not...
Yes, sir. It's very just a little...
Yeah, claustrophobic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Time to your foot.
I scraped it up.
Did you do that last night, you think?
Yes.
Those are on the floor. I just picked them up.
All right, Mercedes. Deputy Hernandez, Glenn County Sheriff's Office, traffic unit. All right. Okay, so let's go back. August 1st, Friday. Tell me about that date, as far back as you can remember.
Like
on Friday.